Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of Virtual Consultation. Today we have Neven. Neven has a common problem with a lot of us. He has kids at home and therefore it affects the placement of his speakers. Neven has a Playbar. He has an old pair of Play 3s as well, which he has configured into a surround sound setup. And he has recently bought a Sub Gen 3. Now let's take a look and see how we can help Neven out to improve the sound of his setup. So before we go on, here's a very quick look at the email that Neven has sent me. And he has recognized that his Playbar placement is far from ideal. Where is it placed? Let's take a look by me casting the video up on the screen here. So this is the screen that we are looking at. This is a typical living room or family room entertainment area. And you can tell that there are kids in Neven's household. Well, the playmats are there, the toys are all over the place, and oh, what is this? Millennium Falcon. Toys for adults too. Oops, didn't come out well. Boys' toys, men's toys. Still not coming out well. But, well, anyway, grown-up toys. Never mind, Millennium Falcon. Okay, so at the top of the shelf, you will see where the Playbar is being held right now. Okay, so this is where the Playbar is. If you understand how a Playbar is being constructed, the Playbar speakers, the drivers, are actually angled outwards. So Neven was asking if he stands it on the slim side, whether the sound will come down to the sitting position, which is 5 meters away, will it travel better? Now, even if you turn it around and put the Playbar on the side, on the slim side, so that it's standing taller, the speaker drivers are still going to be angled outwards and firing upwards. He has a relatively high ceiling which is vaulted, and the sound is going to travel upwards before it even gets dispersed to the listening position where Neven is sitting right here. Now, my recommendation is for safety, you're going to want to keep this Playbar at the same position, which is on the flatter side. Don't make it stand up. It's a long way to fall down. I would say that's at least 1.6, 1.7 meters up high. So if you've got kids running around the place, you want to secure this. Now, I have a suggestion though. If you could look at this space right here, okay, I actually think you can place your soundbar, your Playbar at that position. There's a grommet here, you can run the cables in. If you are worried that your kids are going to run around and pull the Playbar down, you could tether it some way. Maybe run a very thin string around it and go through the grommet and secure it on the other end. So that the kids, even if they lay their hands on it, they're going to pull it down. Even if they do pull it down, it's not such a long way down. It's just probably about 1.5 feet, 2 feet up, as opposed to this 5 feet drop. In terms of sound performance, I think that position will serve you better, will do more justice to the Playbar. And because they are going to be angled 45 degrees, okay, you want to place the Playbar as close to the edge as possible. If you tuck it all the way into the shelf here, then the sound is going to be bouncing around. Yeah, look at this space I have here, right? If you put the speaker here, if you put the Playbar here, the sound is going to bounce around the this hollow space before it escapes, and then it masks the sound. So push the Playbar to the edge where you have this space available. Okay, I think that should help your placement, that should help your sound from the Playbar a lot better, given that your ceiling is so high and these are going to be firing upwards at a 45-degree angle. And if I could point out this space here, I'm not trying to create any domestic arguments, but it looks like a good space for a Sonos Play 5 or Sonos 5. You don't think so? I don't know. So next, let's take a look at where his, oops, okay, yep. This is the picture where his rear surrounds are. He has placed it to angle firing forward. I think this is a very common mistake, but if that is where it is out of reach from your kids, then by all means put it there. The ideal placement for surround speakers, for Sonos surround speakers, is actually at the side. and you aim it towards the listening position, towards your ears, not so much towards the front and towards the TV. So this one, not ideal, but in a pinch, it will work fantastically fine. Now, the thing is, you also have a pair of play trees. Never mind the color, I understand you bought them separately and you like the black as well. It is fine, the color is not going to affect anything. And the good thing is you have a pair of play trees. It's not a pair of play ones or a pair of ones. In terms of surround sound, the play trees, they are actually a lot more capable and a lot louder than the play ones. In terms of response, you asked me a question whether the play one was better, whether the ones was better than the play tree. Actually, in terms of response, the one actually does better. I actually have a chart. Maybe I could post it up there if I could find it later. You will see that the Sonos One or the Play Ones, actually with DSP, it goes deeper, but not necessarily louder. And all these charts, all these frequency response, they're all taken at a single volume of 50%. If you vary the whole volume a little bit, you will realize that there is actually a lot more headroom in the Sonos Play Tree than the Ones series. So you have a pair of Play Trees, keep them there for surround duties. You have already set them on ambient for music. I think it will blend pretty well with your sub that is hiding in this corner right here and your play bar. So leave it. I think it's great. Don't need to purposefully change the angle and the placement of these speakers to fire at yourself. You've got a big room. I think this is fine. Now I'd like to point out where the sub is. Before I go into the placement of the sub, which I believe is the most impact that you can do to your setup, I'd like to just show everybody where your sub is being placed right now. So this is your sub. You didn't want to place this shiny new toy on the floor. I understand that you want to keep it in pristine condition, but if you put this foam block here, this is the packaging that came with the sub. It doesn't affect the sound, but you don't have to worry because the feet of this sub are actually very well made. There are silicone pads at the four corners under the sub. You could place it and it's going to be well protected. You don't have to worry. And the sub, they have no form of vibration. So you are thinking that using this foam or using any kind of stand for this will reduce the vibration and improve the sound. It really doesn't help because of the horizontally opposed drivers where they are firing, in tandem with each other. It cancels out the vibration and you will not get a problem with vibration in the speaker cabinet. When this sub is going crazy, I've done a video on that before, you touch the cabinet, it is completely zero vibration. So aesthetically, it doesn't look the best, but neither will it hurt the performance. So if you're happy with this, keep it this way. But my next suggestion, which is what I'm trying to tell you in this video, is that there is a better way to place this sub to enjoy your sound more. Now let me get to that in a bit. First, I've got to go back to your first picture. Is there a possibility, if at all, to place the sub in this corner here, right? You have a big room, you are seated 5 meters away from your TV and from your play bar. This distance is quite a large distance and you've got a high ceiling. If you tuck the sub all the way to the back, I am just thinking that it might not provide an even response for both the rear surround, in your case, as well as the play bar. If you were to put it midpoint, you have to test it out. It might work better, but I'm thinking that if you can place your sub at this location on the floor here, it might work better for you. Do try it out. Unless, of course, you want to prevent the kids from playing with their toys on your glossy cabinet and then, okay, behind the couch it is. Okay, so if you want to place the couch at this position, I have another few suggestions for you. First, I'm going to assume that you have enough space here. I do believe that there should be about 12 to 15 inches of space, judging from your photos, right? You are pushing the sub close to the wall, which means to say you've probably got about 6 to 8 inches to the couch, which is a fine placement, okay? Now, because this ceiling is vaulted and is quite low, you probably got yourself a good position for a sub. I'm wondering whether you can make it better if you push it to this corner and orientate it this way. so that the opening is firing this way, lengthwise. You are giving a lot more space for the longer frequencies, for the longer wavelength of the low frequencies to travel along this axis and upwards. Bass frequencies are long wavelength. They need some space to build up, they need some space to move. So I'm actually thinking that if you change the orientation 90 degrees and allow the sound to fire out this way, it might help your bass response. The other suggestion I have for you, which might freak you out, given that you are trying to protect your sub by putting foam pieces here. The other suggestion I have for you is to lie this sub on the side. If you have enough space, I'm assuming that if you have enough space to keep this in this orientation, you have enough space to lie it down. When you lie it down, the sound waves for the low bass frequencies are going to be firing upwards, and it's going to be reflected off this wall to the front and to the rest of your room because of your vaulted ceiling. I think that might help. If you don't have enough space, you should be able to move your couch forward just maybe a couple of inches. Again, not trying to incite domestic disagreement, but just a couple of inches. Test it out. Let us know in the comment section below if you have, and see whether it works. I'm very, very curious whether that can help your bass response. You've got a good setup. The Playbar is slightly old, it's about 7 years old by now. The Play 3s are already 9 years old. And the sub is a new addition. It brings life to your setup. I'm very sure of that. You have already said that the sub brought such great enjoyment and such great performance gains to your existing 5.0 setup. So to answer your earlier question, which you have raised, is that you have added an amplification to the whole sound, and you have passed the whole sound from your TV because your 2.0 wasn't working very well. Even if you're watching your 5.1 surround sound format, you also have included amplification of a plus 10 dB to the source and before you place it to the Sonos Playbar. But don't worry about that, it's not going to hurt your system. These guys, they do go loud. Your Play 3s are especially potent as surround sound. I've tried the Play 3s versus the Sonos ones before in a surround, and the Play 3s increases the volume of your whole setup very, very well. And with the sub, again, you don't have to worry. All the duties of the bass are going to be channeled to the sub. So if anything, your surround sound channels, your Play 3s and your Playbar in this particular case, won't even get the brunt of the lower frequencies. And the sub, they have been known to really take a lot of punishments. Check out my playlist on the Sonos sub if you want to. I've done some crazy tests on them, even maxing out the volume. So don't worry about your plus 10 dB. Not going to hurt your system. Now the last question that you have on what else you can do. I have already given you some ideas of how to place the sub. And thank you for your contribution. Thank you for sharing with the community here. This is a fantastic use case on how we balance the placement of our speakers, our sound, our tech in a household with kids. One day they will grow up to appreciate the fact that we have done so much and we have compromised so much for them, and hopefully they will appreciate us for it. If you're asking for future plans on what else you can do to enjoy the Sonos sound system a little bit better, I think I've given you one choice, which is maybe placing a Sonos 5 in one of these cubby holes, or maybe even here and here for a pair. I don't know, maybe you want to put it at the top. Oh no, that's going to displace the Millennium Falcon. Well, anyway, I hope I have helped in this particular case here, and I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Guys, if you are interested in a virtual consultation like what I have done for Neven here today, do scan this QR code right here. When you scan it, you will be taken to an email. Follow the instructions on the email. Give me the pictures, give me the videos, and describe as well as possible. Give me the measurements of your whole setup, and I'll take the viewers through a journey like this to help all of us learn a little bit better. Sonos systems are very versatile, but that doesn't mean that they will not benefit from any form of extra help that we can give them in terms of placement, in terms of configuration. So if you want to share, do scan the QR code here, and I'll see you in my next episode. Oh, and one more thing. You asked about a Sonos Move and how it stacks up to the rest of the Sonos range. Okay, I'm doing that review next. For you, Neven, I've gotten my hands on the Sonos Move. If you're interested in that review, do subscribe to this channel, ring the notification bell, so when that video drops next, you will be notified. And I will see you in that next video.